my God, it's going to hit our house too.
I mean, it's my family.
I know, hey, my family's out there too. Trust me.
The just unbelievable amount of water that fell.
We were in a trailer that got washed off on 172, and nobody can find them.
How could you build something back on something like this?
1 year ago tonight, we got our first look at the historic flooding in Johnson County.
It just breaks my heart to see all this again.
My brother and my grandma was on the porch and it collapsed.
Rising from the rubble 1 year later, a day that turned so many lives upside down.
Well, Steve, in 2015, flooding was responsible for more weather-related fatalities in the U.S. than any other weather phenomena.
Right now, Johnson County sits in what some might call the sweet spot for this big impact winter storm.
Meanwhile, in Floyd County, the snow fell fast this morning. By noon, some places there already had about 9 inches of snow. Steve and Angela, that's right. Road crews here in Perry County started working around 7 o'clock this morning, and they're just now wrapping up now that it's getting dark. They say the workload today was pretty manageable, but they are not looking forward to this weekend.
We were able to kind of do some pre-treatment today to get ready for what's coming tomorrow evening, so hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier from a response standpoint.
Judge Executive Dan Mosley says last year's snowstorms were a thought when it came to this year's preparation.
The demand has kept one Letcher County auto parts store awfully busy. The temperature was cold, but demand was hot for propane Thursday at Quality Parts in Letcher County.
We're picking up some gas. We ran out this morning. We're trying to make sure for the storm that's coming.
And kind of splitting Perry County in half, and points to the north of that, based off some of the reports that I'm seeing, that is a transition that's occurring from this freezing rain sleet to some heavy snow.
I stopped by to see how folks were enjoying the snow day by eating their favorite foods. Deep fried inside with deep snow outside.
This is a night we will not soon forget. Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Neil Middleton.
WYMT's Angela Reichert is in Lexington and continues our live team coverage. Angela?
Steve and Neil, definitely not a good night for Kentucky Democrats. Lexington Mayor Jim Gray suffered a tough loss tonight to Rand Paul.
Trump's former rival in the GOP presidential primary, Kentucky Junior Senator Rand Paul, who won a second term in Washington tonight by easily defeating Lexington Mayor Jim Gray. Paul and other state Republican leaders took a victory lap at their gathering in Louisville earlier tonight. WYMT's Tanner Hesterberg joins us now live from the Galt House in Louisville. Tanner?
Neil, same book, different chapter. Another election cycle and another big night for Kentucky Republicans.
WYMT's Lauren Osborne visited the polls today and joins us now with more. Lauren?
Yeah, I visited a few precincts here in Perry County today, including City Hall and the old Sherman Niece Athletic Center. Election officials I spoke with say they're expecting a roughly 60% turnout throughout Perry County and across the state, which is up from 59% in the 2012 general election.
Welcome back to WYMT Election Headquarters. Steve Hensley and Neil Middleton with you. We're going to talk about House Speaker Greg Stumbo, defeated tonight in that House race. Some would call that a surprise. Of course, he's been in office for quite some time. We have a reporter following that race, Cassidy Stricklet, and she filed this report just a few moments ago.
Folks at the Larry Brown campaign watch party went crazy when they learned that he was elected as the new 95th District State Representative.
We wasn't in immediate danger, but, you know, the right wind blow, you know, it take it right over.
And that's the fear for many across the region as the threat of forest fires leads us into the weekend.
Now this is video from Kentucky 15 in Perry County where a fire broke out late tonight. Drivers were slowing down on that busy highway as they drove past the blaze. No word yet on how the fire started. Perry County dispatchers say the fire is not affecting any homes at this time.
Now with even more dry weather in the forecast, the fear is that we could see more fires in the coming days. We sent WYMT meteorologist Allison Rogers out to check on the conditions to keep you prepared. She joins us now live from Pine Mountain in Letcher County. Allison?
That's right, Steve. I'm in Letcher County now. Just over my shoulder facing northwest, you can still see a fire burning off in the distance. Crews have worked with 18 fires today. 17 of those carried over from yesterday, and one was one that started today, that one in Breathitt County. Now, 2 of the 18 have been contained, meaning that we are still dealing with 16 burning fires on our hands. Now, as far as the help goes, well, they've called in people from all across the state, and I spoke to officials earlier today from the Division of Forestry.
Whitley County leaders say they do not expect to lift the outdoor burning ban before Thursday. Head east and you'll find Harlan County is also under a burn ban. These are pictures from tonight of the 1,100 square foot forest fire in Harlan County. Forestry officials believe the fire started around Little Shepherd's Trail late last week, and it's now creeping into Perry and Letcher counties. We're told about 12 new fires started in our region today. Officials say unless we see significant rain in our forecast, more burn bans could be taken into effect in different counties.
The fires have been burning now for several days here in Harlan County. You can even see the flames getting close to the road here on Highway 522. But the biggest issue at this point is how close the fires are getting to some people's homes.
As this hillside burns, smoke fills the air in the lungs of those living close by.
With my severe COPD, it makes it very, very hard for me to breathe.
Today, the National Guard took their fight to the air in Harlan County. Officials told us they expect even more fires as we approach Election Day. WYMT's Caleb Noe returned to the Tri-Cities and shows us how effective those flyovers have been.
For the first time in days, the mountain skyline along U.S. Highway 119 is not clouded with smoke.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed that much rain hitting my face in a long, long time.
Or something we're going to continue to key in on here. So lots of heavy rainfall, and these storms got a little bit of a hook on it. You can see here, this is a signature we look for when we begin to track some of these tornado-warm storms in and around Somerset and then stretching just east of London, indicating that more moderate to heavy rainfall. And we're seeing a lot more of that heavy rainfall as we get across the border into southwest Virginia, from Pennington Gap up towards Big Stone Gap.
Alabama moves on to the next round to face Kentucky. Josh McKinney has more on the Crimson Tide from the SEC tournament in Nashville.
Ole Miss senior guard Stephon Moody may have stole the show with his 39-point performance, but it was the Alabama Crimson Tide who advanced Thursday night, beating the Rebels 81-73, and will now play the Kentucky Wildcats in the quarterfinals.
Jamal Murray ices the game. He had 17. Euless is your tournament MVP, and Kentucky wins its 29th SEC tournament in program history, 82-77 Kentucky at overtime.
Angela Reiger joins me now. Angela, Big Blue Nation, not the only fan base here, a large fan base here, I should say. You have Kansas here. The Jayhawks are playing Austin Peay right now. Indiana is here. The Hoosiers will take on UT Chattanooga later tonight. A lot of college basketball fans in town.
Absolutely. Kentucky, Kansas, Indiana. We're talking about super fans here in Des Moines, and I talked to them as they walked in today, all of them excited for this big game tonight. Today, fans had the chance to experience the sights and sounds outside of Wells Fargo Arena. I visited some popular spots in downtown Des Moines where UK fans were having a good time and also boosting the local economy.
The voice was called a force of nature, powerful, yet frail and old, even eerie. Last Thursday, that voice was silenced when Dr. Ralph Stanley died at 89. Speakers at his funeral say there is no doubt that Stanley is now singing in heaven.
Ralph Stanley was laid to rest on a picturesque June evening in southwest Virginia. Scores of fans and friends lined the fence around the cemetery to get one final glimpse of the man who was a hero to many and family to a few.
Going up home to living green pastures.
Several musicians like Larry Sparks, who were influenced by Stanley, spoke and sang on the same stage the good doctor graced many times.
This is a Mountain News special report. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley. I'm sorry to report this afternoon that we have lost a legend. Former Clay County High School boys basketball coach Bobby Keith has died at 75.
And I really feel like we made it seem like that mountain teams could compete with anyone, and I think it gave a lot of hope to a lot of people, and it brought a lot of pride back to Clay County.
The numbers certainly speak for themselves. 767 career wins, 18 13th region championships, and 3 appearances in the state championship game. But maybe the most important number of all, the number 1. There was only one Bobby Keith.
But I think when the biography of Coach Bobby Keith is written, the thing that will be noticed about him was that he loved Clay County with all of his heart.
His story inspired the region, a mountain boy reaching for the stars in Hollywood.
Harlan County native Jordan Smith stole the spotlight just a few months ago on one of the biggest stages. While he captured the title of the Voice winner, he also won the hearts of America.
Day 1 in the books here at the National Prescription Drug Abuse and Heroin Summit.
Congressman Hal Rogers says 78 Americans die every day to heroin and prescription drug overdoses. Still, he says progress has been made since the first Prescription Drug Abuse Summit 5 years ago.
And I think we got people more aware of the danger involved with prescription medicines, which are legal and licit and good for people.
Steve and Angela, the president, spoke today at the summit because he said he wanted to elevate the country's attention on a problem he calls devastating. Mr. Obama also said that the fight against prescription drug abuse should rank right up there with terrorism in terms of the amount of resources he's devoted to it from the government. President Obama spoke to a crowd of nearly 2,000 medical professionals, law enforcement officials, and others on the front lines of the battle against opioid abuse.
And the problem we have right now is that treatment is greatly underfunded.
Well, Steve, greetings once again from downtown Atlanta, the National Prescription Drug Abuse and Heroin Summit. Of course, yesterday was the big day. President Obama here shedding a massive spotlight on this prescription drug abuse issue, but today, no less busy. I attended the early main session, which featured a few familiar Eastern Kentucky faces.
We're shifting gears and slinging dirt straight into this episode of Backroads, which is bringing us to Isom, Kentucky.
People don't realize what we have in our backyard and the resources here. The setting here at the breaks is not paralleled anywhere else in the States.
Roland, along with his friend Steve Mayon, hope to make climbing at breaks more accessible to beginner climbers.
This used to be an old limestone rock quarry that they started back in the 1890s. They mined all the way up until 1985. During 1980, they was blasted and hit a natural spring back in through there and flooded the mine.
The journey inside the Ark begins on Deck 1, which features cages and food containers, while Decks 2 and 3 showcase most of the exhibits, some with sound effects, and some you can even ask questions.
Do you have any more questions?
And one person it has not stopped, WYMT Cumberland Valley Bureau Chief Caleb Noe, who we welcome in now. Caleb, one of our favorite festivals here at the World Chicken Festival. A lot of folks out, a lot to do here in downtown London.
That's right, Tanner, and they don't call it the Chicken Festival for nothing. There's plenty of chicken here. Some Colonel Sanders look-alikes. We've got some people walking by making chicken cluck noises. We've even got a contest for that.
There is that.
Tomorrow, of course, and then even some other people dressed in chicken suits.
Steve, each food booth you find here at the festival is run by a nonprofit organization. The money they raise goes to support their cause. Now, of course, you still have time to get down here tonight, and the festival continues tomorrow. That parade starts at 2 p.m.
This one's just for you. Jalapeno, sour cream. We have the new layout downtown. The vendors are set up all the way down Main Street, but there's no traffic issues. Everything's flowing nicely. Nearly 80 vendors set up for this year's Black Gold Festival.
Here we go. I'm probably going to fall. All these people are waiting. Let's have at it.
Stay on him till he falls. Oh, he goes down. He made it longer than I probably would.
Me too.
Good afternoon, everyone. Live from the 2016 SOAR Innovation Summit at the East Kentucky Expo Center in Pikeville, I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Neil Middleton. First at 4, more than 1,000 people came together today for the 3rd Shaping Our Appalachian Region Summit.
Now, this summit was highlighted by an innovation showcase, which included more than 140 initiatives. It was also the first for Matt Bevin as governor. Lexington Mayor Jim Gray and U.S. Senate Senate candidate Jim Gray is our candidate tonight. Mayor, thank you for coming down to Hazard today.
Great to be with you, Steve.
Well, for those here in Eastern Kentucky that may still not know a lot about you, kind of give me a brief biography. Senator Paul, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for
Good
having
to
me.
interview you in person instead of via satellite
It's great
for
to
a
be
change.
here.
Well, obviously we're just a few weeks away from the election now. How do you feel about your chances going into November?
You know, I think particularly in Eastern Kentucky, people are very, very upset with the national Democrats, you know, with Hillary Clinton saying she's going to put more coal miners out of business and the coal companies out of business. I just don't think people are ready for anybody who's a friend of Hillary Clinton out here.
Tonight was Scholarship Awards Night at the tournament, with more than 100 Eastern Kentucky high school students receiving money for college. Now in its 29th year, the WYMT Wayne Supply Mountain Basketball Classic has grown to become one of the biggest round ball tournaments in Kentucky.
You know, the basketball is the thing everybody likes to come and watch and look at, but in my opinion, the best that comes out of this classic is the scholarships and those kids getting that money and that extra money to go on to school.
Dozens of corporate partners and individuals sponsored the event, awarding more than 100 students with $1,000 college scholarships.
WYMT's Alex Casper-Peak joins us now live from the Expo Center in Pikeville with more on what you can find over there this year. Alex?
Steve, it may not have felt very warm outside today, but for those attending the East Kentucky Sport Boat and RV Show, spring is in the air. With spring right around the corner, it's almost time for the adventures to begin. Filling the East Kentucky Expo Center with RVs, boats, and ATVs is the perfect way for people to prepare for summer.
Thank you, Dr. Majasic, and good evening. I am Devin Stevenson, President and CEO of Big Sandy Community and Technical College, and on behalf of the entire college community, I want to welcome all of you to our Prestonsburg campus for tonight's forum for Democratic candidates running for U.S. Senate nomination for 2016.
Welcome to the 29th Annual East Kentucky Leadership Conference and Award Showcase. Now, here are your hosts for the evening, Tanner Hesterberg and Angela Reigard.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to say it's an honor to be back in my hometown of Moorhead, and I don't think I've received that much applause in this town since I told my parents I was moving out of the house. So you guys are already much too kind for me.
He's been practicing that one all week, if you haven't guessed. So
right, and
I'm glad it went over well for him.
I got the same reaction tonight as when I practiced for you in the car, and that was crickets.